chips, bag of chips. So last semester we collected 104 kilograms. So that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's really a lot. And we took it to several recycling centers. So we might continue doing this project. So every time you guys come to our general meeting,
you can bring those
materials you have collected throughout the semester. And
that is it.
And so it was a competition, basically. The one that brought more wins, and that's a little
trophy.
It was 3D printed here in UTEP, so it's really cute, and you get a certificate as well. And of course, credit hours with our organization.
We also have the ESW credit hours.
So, just as she mentioned, by doing the little things, you'll get credit hours, and those credit hours helps you either to become a member or either to have the stove for graduation. Just by doing different things.
Can you go back, please? The 20 credit hours, it's like you can buy a stove from us for graduation. 40 credit hours, it's a free stove from us. It means that if you be active with us, you can get a free stove. Activities are 4 credit hours, and attending meetings, it's 2 credit hours. So right now you sign in for our meeting, so you do have 2 credit hours for this meeting.
So I think I have seen spaces that went to the first general meeting, so now you collected 4 credit hours for this.
And right now at the end of the general meeting, we're gonna collect the caps from I've seen a few people that brought them, so that gives you credit hours, activity credit hours. We're also gonna keep doing the Help Us Helping Others, which is cap collections, and it's called Border Project because we take them to Juarez. These caps are used to pay cancer treatment for children, and the cap collection will be at the end of every general meeting. The plastic caps that are acceptable are for milk, soda, juice, bottled water, yogurt, drinks. No for softeners, medicine, bleach, chemical products, oil bottles. If you have any more questions about that, you can email us. If you found another thing that it's not on the list, let us know.
So with educating our community on sustainable ideas and perspectives, we all know that, or if you don't know, the fashion industry is one of the most contaminants in the world. So we try to reduce that by implementing the idea of recycling clothes. So you guys, your members are invited into that activity. You can bring your old clothes that you don't want anymore, that you don't fit anymore, that is not your style anymore, and we donate those into the community, and you also get credit hours. And yes, that is collected at the end of every semester.
How many credit hours does that activity give?
So each activity is 4 credit. Was it 5 or 4? 4 credit hours. Yes. So like if you bring 10 items, you get 4 credit hours. If you bring caps, you get 4 credit hours. So that's how you.
Okay. But I think since we are barely coming alive after the pandemic, and we don't have as much as active projects as we used to in the past, we might get up the credit hours a little bit higher just to make it more.
We're also thinking of putting more projects into the organization so that you can get more credit hours with that activities. We can be more active.
And also, are we thinking of implementing? But we're asking you guys to give us from your ideas that we can do that. And whenever an officer graduates, like me this semester, you can also stay in office and continue giving that continuation of the organization. Yeah.
So basically this is the end of our part. So if you scan the QR code, it will take you to our Instagram page where we are live right now.
And we can post, you find out about any other events that are coming up, other general meetings, and reminders for the projects and their deadlines.
And today we have a guest speaker. Woo! A very important guest.
As I was saying, we are trying to revive this organization, and one of the ways we are doing that especially this semester and looking into the future, is like one of the what will be becoming our like most important and like signature project, and this will be talking about it. So yes, give him a welcome again.
Okay guys, so while we set up the presentation, it should be just a couple of minutes. I'm gonna be talking about the precious plastic project. Like Miranda mentioned, we're gonna be working with ESW. Pretty much it's going to be the same entity, so it's just going to be a project from ESW. And yeah, we can start. So about us, what we're trying to do is that we're trying to implement a plastic recycling center here at UTEP. We talked with the Green Fund. I don't know if you guys heard about the Green Fund. They take like $50, I think, from each pay. $2? Only two? Wow.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Well, they take $2 from everyone, every student here at the university. They put all that money together and they pretty much sponsor projects that are geared towards improving here at the campus on something ecological or sustainability. So we got a grant from them, we got some money, and pretty much what we, like I mentioned, what we're trying to do is start that plastic recycling plant. How we're gonna do that is that we're gonna also work with this organization called Precious Plastics. This organization is non-profit and it's open source. Pretty much what they did is that it's a network of engineers and people interested on improving this world on a sustainability and ecological way. And what they did is that they designed a couple of machines to do the cycle. So pretty much from collecting the plastic, grinding it, turn it into a small little shards of plastic, and also either turn it into a filament or chips of plastic that you can turn into anything else. Can we go to the next slide? If you can meet the full team right now, Valeria is not with us right now, but she's also working with the project. That's me, Miranda, Stephanie, Ariane, Teresa, and Cassandra, which are the girls that you just met from ESW. And we have some advisors. We're working directly with Jack Chesa. He's the chair of the mechanical engineering department. Yeah, can we go to the next slide, please? And sorry, and Chris, that's here with us and he's going to help us with explain some of the research. Okay, so some of the problems that we noticed of why we're doing this, and we pretty much summed it into three problems. The first one is that there's no implementation on campus, so there's really not a effective program for recycling all of the waste that we generate here on campus. Another problem is that there's not a lot of opportunities for students that want to work on something related with ecology. At least on mechanical engineering, there's a lot of opportunities for people who want to build diesel engines or who want to work for Lockheed Martin building rockets, but there's not a lot of different options. Another one is that we also don't feel like there's a lot of spreading this culture of taking care of the planet and all of this. And some of the solutions that we have first is the Precious Plastic Project, which is here to fix that first problem that we found, that there's not really a project or something to help recycling. The second one is some community partners that Chris will be helping us a little more slides down. He will be giving us more information about how these partners can help us have some opportunities for the students that want to develop their curriculum in this more ecological way. And finally, for spreading the culture, that's why we're working with the ESW, so that we can build a strong core of students and a student organization that helps spread this culture on campus. So, like I mentioned, if you look up anything of recycling here in UTEP, this is the only thing that I could find, which is from the UTEP facilities website, and that's all they say. The only waste management that we have is that they recycle paper, and that's it. No plastic, nothing else. And I've noticed, I don't know if you guys noticed, that there's a lot of trash cans, these blue trash cans that are recycling, and there are some also different ones where you're supposed to put the plastic, the paper, and some other. Well, apparently they're not doing anything with that because the only thing that comes up is this. I don't know if one of the girls from ESW wants to give their opinion. They've tried to work before with here at UTEP with the recycling center, and they had some experiences. Can you?
Well, we try to implement a more active recycling project or activities here at UTEP, and they basically say that they do have the cans, but they put it all together at the last minute. So even if we are separating at each of the buildings with these cans, the recycling does not happen at the last minute, and that at each of the buildings with these cans, the recycling does not happen at the last minute, and that it's us as students who need to come together to give them facilities, the paths, so that we can have an active recycling process here at UTEP, but only we can do that, not them to us, if that makes sense. So that's why we need to be more active on that.
Okay, so now talking more in depth about the precious plastic organizations and the machines that they made. These are the machines that they made and that are open source. Anyone in the world can download the files, and if you have the machinery and the money, start building them. We've tried to do that, but the issue is that most of these machines were designed, I think, in Europe, because almost all of the measurements are on metric system, which is great. The only issue is that also the materials that they use are metric system. So the sheets, the square tubing, it's all in millimeters, and if you go to any steel shop here in El Paso, they're gonna sell only on fractions of an inch or something like that. So pretty much what we're doing from the mechanical engineering aspect and the engineering aspect of it is pretty much we had to redesign the whole machine. We're also putting in our own upgrades, so we are working on the machines. And the first one that we're trying to get is the shredder, which is the one that you put in the plastic and it shreds it into small little bits of plastic. From the grant, we got the money enough to build 2 of those, sheet press, and I think also a filament extruder one. Yeah, right now, like I mentioned, we're working on redesigning the shredder. So as soon as we're done with that design, we're gonna start ordering parts so that we can start actually manufacturing the machine here on campus. We don't have yet a facility like a building or a floor where we can put everything, but that's why we're working with Dr. Chesa so that we can have somewhere to put all of this.
Can I make a note on that?
Yeah, sure.
We actually have 2 locations that we may be able to use. We will be able to use at least one of them. The short-term fix is a space in the mechanical engineering department itself, and I think it's about 800 square feet that Professor Chesa said that he could get available to us at any point. But the bigger plan is actually to create an umbrella organization that is interdisciplinary and occupy a space in the transdisciplinary building, the new building. And that's the broader goal for all of this. This project is the thing that we think is a really good fractal of the objectives that are consistent throughout this larger theme. So we do have, it's not that we don't have a space, it's that we have 2 spaces. We're not sure which one we're gonna land at or which one we're gonna ultimately stay at, so.
Yeah, if you can move on to the next slide. These are some of the solutions that the community from the precious plastic community has come up with. You can build pretty much anything. They built a really cool bench, a storage system. I think this is a pot for a plant, and even sunglasses. Sorry, yeah, you had a question.
So my question is, I mean, it's a little bit silly, but I was wondering if you can use those plastic to use it on the 3D printer that we have on the Gala Lab. Did you just?
Actually, yeah. I forgot to mention that we're gonna be working with 2 plastics mainly, HDPE and PLA. HDPE is like the ones that the milk jugs are made out of, and PLA is like the secondary material that the 3D printers use. So what we're trying to do with that is, yeah, grab that PLA, shred all of the failed prints, all of the support materials of all of the 3D printers that we have on campus, and pretty much that's why we also have a filament extruder. Pretty much do filament again so that they can use it again. So yeah.
So, okay, one of the things that we want y'all's help with is actually, when we first started planning this, we didn't know how far it was gonna go. We started with the shredder because that's the thing to get rid of all the dead air between objects, so once we get some kind of progress going. But when we found out that the programs at UTEP for recycling were basically non-existent, that's when we thought, well, we need to approach the Green Fund and see if we can get this whole suite so that it can be an accountable system to the students that it serves and be something that you guys can interact with and help us develop. That being said, we had certain ideas about which plastics we were going to be focused on based on other variables independent of UTEP. So I was actually the one that was saying HDPE is a great first step because it's the lowest toxicity, it's the lowest barrier for entry for actually processing any of the material that you do collect. You can melt it at 300 degrees in a kitchen oven. You can form it into blocks or sheets that you can tool with the same tools that you would use for wood. So there's a lot of advantages to HDPE. When we talked to Dr. Chesa, he brought up the point that you're bringing up, which is that there's a lot of that material at PLA that's wasted. There is a problem with the extruder thing. The tolerances for recycled extruded filament are tricky. So we're not sure exactly how that's all going to be implemented. The questions that you're hearing in all of this are things that we want y'all's help with, okay? So one of the things that we need to do very quickly is get more data about the actual materials that this particular campus has an issue with. Judging from in here, it looks like PET is going to be the thing that is generated the most, which unfortunately is one of the more difficult things to actually process. So the equation looks like this. If we come up with something that we can do, this is all HDPE. If we come up with like this awesome plan and do all these awesome things, but it only accounts for 5% of the waste that's produced on campus, that's not a super success story. So now those are just arbitrary numbers to make the point. I don't know what the actual numbers look like, but we need help from a small army like what is represented in this room to find that data and then to come up with an implementation plan. Jesus and Valeria have been working on the nuts and bolts, literally, of the machine, of the shredder. The plan is to develop that machine in-house and probably just buy the other machines off the shelf. That's what we proposed, and that's most likely what's going to happen. And the reason for that is so that we can get an actual operation going. So the PLA is the one that Dr. Chesa suggested. I'm not sure what the best one is, but we need more data before we commit to any particular course of action on that.
Okay, so all of that we talk about so far, it's been only here on campus, but we're actually trying to go beyond, also to impact the community and work with other entities here on El Paso area. That's why we're working with Chris. And if we go to the next slide, these are some of the partners that we have right now in the community. Green Hope Project, PSI, which is the Philosophic Systems Institute, Paso Community Foundation, and Home. Chris can give a lot of more details about this.
Yeah, so I actually work for the Philosophic Systems Institute, and that's primarily a pedagogical organization. It has a couple of different programs. The one that I'm mostly working with right now has to do with low-income housing, and that's with Home. That's with the Housing Authority. Just to put things in perspective, the Housing Authority, Home, houses 20% of the population of this city. So this is a big deal, and there's every reason to believe that we can implement smaller satellite facilities like the one that we're piloting here in multiple locations around the city. So there's potential for real big impact with this. The Community Foundation is the fiscal sponsor for the Philosophic Systems Institute. They're definitely on board with all of this. The Green Hope Project was the organization that actually approached me in the first place with the precious plastic plan, and they're out of Socorro. They primarily operate in Socorro. So there's multiple educational facilities, there's multiple community partners, and even between this group and these groups, as I mentioned before, one of our overriding goals is to get coordination between departments and to get a real collaborative environment within which to tackle these problems. As Jesus said, there's all kinds of money thrown around and opportunities to do stuff that's kind of nefarious, frankly, you know? I mean, extracting resources and blowing things up, okay, you know? But there are these other things that we need to start looking at collectively, and the closer to home we look at them, this is one of the principles that the Philosophic Systems Institute is really trying to promote. The closer to home that we can address these problems, the more grassroots examples of successful programs can be exported to the rest of the planet, and other people can use the things that we've developed as proofs of concept that they can implement in their own place. So we're just trying to add a chapter to that. In the process of doing that, we're trying to create not only course curriculum here, but also internships and paychecks for students to work not only on these projects within their department, but between departments and with these organizations. So for instance, we have a project that we're planning. We just got $2.6 million for a project in Segundo called Alamito, and working with the School of Economics here, multiple other departments here, and the students from those departments can go work at Alamito and engage with members of the community. That by itself, I think, is a unique opportunity. Rather than being siloed into a university and saying, okay, I do this and I get this check mark in my box and then I go somewhere else. Everybody in El Paso is familiar with the term brain drain. You know, that students like yourselves come out of a place like this that is a silo and go, I'd like to engage with the community, I'd like to be involved there, I'd like to solve problems at the local level, but there's no opportunity for me. Well, that's something that we're actively trying to change with all of this. So again, this Precious Plastics program is just a fractal of all of this. And these things are coming. I hope that you guys can help us figure out exactly what the next step is. And it's not even so much about crunching data. It's about hearing what you guys want to develop. Okay, that's another one of the principal elements of the Philosophic Systems Institute, is that it's non-hierarchical. So what we're trying to develop is a pedagogical educational model where the people that are receiving the education are also giving an education to the people who are providing that education. So it's a big dance, and we're inviting y'all to be part of it. So we hope that we can get some real traction here with this project.
So here are some of the check marks that we have for the close future. Actually, this is something that we need the help of more people with. What we want to do is by the end of May, have finished blocks assembly. What that means is for the shredder, so you have the box where you have the 2 axles with the blades. I don't know if you guys seen those TikTok videos where they throw random stuff at the shredder. Well, we're trying to make that box by the end of May. And then the next check mark would be right after the summer, when the summer ends. So we want to keep working on this even during the summer. That check mark would be finished the first shredder completely. And after that, when the actual semester starts, we pretty much want to launch the project. Have that shredder and some other machine that could help us turn the ships that come out of the shredder into something that we could show students that we're making some progress. And yeah, this is our growth strategy. What we want to do first is collect. We're gonna need help with that too. Like I mentioned, we need help collecting all of this. Like I mentioned, we're gonna start with HDPE, so we need help developing the system that we're going to use to collect all of that plastic. How we're gonna collect it, if we have looked into the possibility of maybe hiring an external company to help us sort everything.
That's not our first choice, but it's a fail-safe. My feeling about that is that what we need to do is focus on the people that are already on board conceptually, and that we can create an implementation plan that invites people that already know this needs to happen to do some of the processing themselves. So if we just do it the way that most of these programs go, they open the floodgates, they accept anything that falls into the bin, and then they deal with it after the fact. What I'd like to do is sort of surgically target people who already are realize that this needs to happen, and create smaller proofs of concept that we can then expand upon. So get something that really works well at a small level and then duplicate that. That's worked very well in the past, and I think that's the direction that we should go in. If we can get, I was excited, I had never heard that the physical plant said that you guys should tell them what to do and that they would do it. I love that, you know, but if they're already collecting the stuff, that's part of the implementation plan. So that's what we need y'all's input on, isn't even so much like, hey, we need you guys to go out and collect stuff. That's not it. What we need is to figure out the most bang for the buck, how to get the information to the people that need it, and how to create a workflow once we do have the stuff, and keep it all in the public eye and all accountable to the students. That's the goal.
And yeah, like I mentioned, for that we need help not only from engineers, we need help from everyone to help us develop that chain, that layout that we're gonna need for this to work. After that, it's the design. That's sort of what we're working on right now. It's designing the machines, but not only the machines, also designing what we want to do with the plastic, with the material that we get out of it. What solutions can we propose that could be helpful here on campus? We also need help with that. And finally, it's spreading this to other people on campus, like we're doing right now, us to you, and like ESW is doing to the rest of the campus. Yeah, can we go to the next slide? And yeah, pretty much that's it. I don't know if you think that we missed anything.
Oh, probably, almost certainly. But that's why we're here. We can answer any questions that anybody has, and we're here for the duration.
I think, Jesus, you should share about how did you come into this whole project through your credit classes, so you can inspire others to do the same through other projects or through this same project.
So yeah, like Chris mentioned, we have a lot of different opportunities for the students right now. For example, me and Valeria are having credit for this class. We both are mechanical engineers, and working with Dr. Chesa, since we're pretty much redesigning the machines, we're getting credit for one of our classes, and we're planning to work with other colleges here in UTEP and pretty much try to have that same opportunity for not only mechanical engineers, but also electrical engineers, industrial engineers, not only engineers, also we need help with the spreading for marketing people, business. We need help everywhere.
Is anybody here from the Loya Business Center? Anyone? We talked to them at the last fair, and they're for sure interested. The thing is, we've already got contacts with people in the philosophy departments, in the economics departments, business, social work. All of these things will apply at some point. Again, the point of all of this is to reconceptualize how a society functions, and so making a mini society here on campus is one way of addressing that. And the example that Jesus has, we have one committed faculty member, happens to be the chair, which is really nice, but we have one committed faculty member in that department and 2 committed students right now. Obviously, at some point they're going to graduate, and so we need some kind of continuity. So what I'd like to see, and I don't know if this is just overly simplistic, but what I'd like to see is even from you guys, if you like the sound of any of this, and you're not in the mechanical engineering department, you could go talk to faculty members that you think would be interested in facilitating something like this. And that's what I mean by non-hierarchical. Like, you guys can start this rolling, and you can say, hey, they've got this program. Tell the faculty member to get a hold of me or to get a hold of Dr. Chesa and say, how do we do this? It can be duplicated in every department. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, because there's always politics and there's always, all these other hurdles. But it can be done. It's been done once, and that proof of concept is what we need to duplicate or try to duplicate across multiple departments now.
So yeah, we're
She has a
actually.
question.
Oh, sorry, you have a question?
I was just gonna mention that you guys should reach out to Miguel Fraga, that used to be a president for ESW. We had a very similar program in the past called Minor Cycler, and it was also based on precious plastics. But we had some other hurdles with that when that project was on, so we didn't collaborate directly with precious plastics, but it was based off of their model.
That would be really useful if we could get that information, why some struggles, what worked, what didn't. That would be really useful for us.
Absolutely.
Miguel Fraga?
Do you have his contact?
I have him.
You have him?
Yeah.
And any information that you have directly would be very welcome as well. So let us know.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, we are actually recording this meeting. A lot of people couldn't be here because they work or they have some other commitment. So if you guys have any questions and are watching this recorded, this should be on the Instagram and I think maybe also the Facebook page. Just reach out to ESW, send a message either to the Instagram page if you have any questions about the project or are interested on it. Reach out to ESW, and that way you can reach out to us.
Thank you.
The 3 check marks for the continuation of the project and the box and everything. When can the students start getting involved? Like, can they help you with that throughout the summer or after August? Is that when they can get involved, or when?
Okay, so yeah, definitely. Right now, what we need, like the most urgent help with is mechanical engineering. So just so that we can finish that machine and start manufacturing it. But also we can parallelly work in other avenues as for spreading the project on campus. While talking with the Green Fund, they were really interested on the project, but they were also really concerned that they wanted us to let all of the UTEP students know that we're doing something, and we need marketing people for that, graphic designers, all that. So that's something that I know we need help right off the bat. But they're also depending, if any of you is interested, we can look into your strengths and see how you can help us on the project. We can find a place for you.
Yeah, I would say also, right now what we're looking for is sort of true believers. What we're looking for is people that can see not only the potential for the project itself, but also for them in developing, hopefully for a number of years, but at least beyond the end of the semester, beyond getting extra credit or something for a course. But like we said, we're actively trying to develop interdisciplinary courses for this purpose. So right now, I'm less concerned about like making a big announcement and letting everybody know, hey, we're on this thing, and they're coming out. Well, where do I get credit? Where do I get a paycheck? Okay, right now what we need is people that actually know, hey, this is a serious issue, and understand there are opportunities that we're developing, and they're already in place. Valeria and Jesus are benefiting from coursework as well as a stipend that didn't exist 6 months ago. So it is happening. It can happen, but the people that we really need right now are people that can work toward that. Keep it in mind, we're not expecting anybody to do anything just at that level, but right now what we really need, since we don't have all those programs in place yet, we need more people that are like, hey, I can do this on the weekends, I can do this is my specialty, this is my hobby, these are people that I know, I can put you in contact with people that know other things, you know, all of that stuff is gold. So that's what we need, is the real commitment to the goal.
You also, what about the collecting the data?
Yeah, so I have to admit, I'm a little bit, I'm not sure exactly who I'm talking to. Are you guys all in ESW already? Or I won't take that
They're
as a no.
ESW members, some of them are new, but they're all like
Familiar.
engineer, yes, familiar with
Okay.
the engineer, and I think they're all engineering majors. Are you all? Yes, so it's.
You can let everyone introduce themselves, I think.
Okay, yeah, I don't mean to put anybody on the spot. The main reason I'm asking is I would think, and I may be speaking out of turn on this too, why change now? But I think that you guys have the skills probably at your disposal to look into getting the data that we need. And as a group, if you're already here and you're already interested, that would be, I think, the most valuable contribution that you guys could do right now is to just like get together and figure out, okay, how do we get the actual data on what is being produced, what's getting thrown away, and what the ratios are and things like that. We can talk more in depth about all of that, but I'd say that's the sweet spot right now. After that, planning a campaign to announce it to the rest of the university. But to me, that can go on at the same time as the development of the machines. Keep in mind, the shredder can shred any number of different plastics. We're probably going to end up having a separate shredder for each type of plastics, just because that's the most efficient way of doing it, instead of having to clean and you know, switch over operations to a different setting for different types of plastic. We would have a committed machine for that. After that, you know, the same thing goes for the other suite of machines. We could do that here. We could do all of those here. We could develop a plan that says, you know, it'd be more efficient if we got if we had one of those as a satellite, maybe at Alamito, for instance. But that's the kind of help that I'm looking for from this group, is planning on the implementation and planning on the data collection. The rest of it can be developed in parallel to that.
Mm-hmm. So for more upcoming updates specific on this project, you can follow us ESW Recycling on Instagram.
And the email.
And the emails, everything will be sent also through email. So if you didn't sign in, just let us know so you can have the QR code and thank you.